Guys, Eric here. I have a very powerful message for all of you here today. Keep your ears open because you're going to love this, alright? INFJs, there is nothing wrong with you. Nothing at all. Now, I've said this before in my other videos, but I'm going to explain it to you today, okay? First things first. INFJs, there's what is called the Ascending Reticular Activating System. Every person on the entire Earth, every human being has one. It is the part of your brain that regulates stimulation. When you go to bed, it drops. When you wake up, it starts rising. And when it is not stimulated enough, then you end up feeling bored and depressed. When it is overstimulated, you end up feeling drained and emotionally exhausted and mentally exhausted. So, introverts, all introverts, naturally have a higher level of baseline arousal in the ARAS. Extroverts do not. So, you introverts out there, you don't need as much human interaction to be happy, social interaction, as much stimulation. And stimulation means loud noises, stimulation means babies, it means children, it means social time, it means being around other people or stimulating environments. It means you don't need to be at parties for more than an hour to feel satisfied and like you've gotten enough. It means you don't need to go to raves. You don't need to listen to loud booming music in the car. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't enjoy that. I do from time to time. But for an hour straight, please don't. Please don't put me through that. 5 minutes, one song? I can do one song, but then let's nearly turn the music off. Alright, my RAS goes from like right here, right at the center baseline, to up here, and I'm like, alright, that was awesome. And then my friend's like, yeah, how about this song? And he cranks up the music even more. And now I'm overwhelmed and overstimulated. INFJs. I talked about this in the last video. Your last cognitive function is extroverted sensing. Alright, when that is forcefully engaged, it exhausts you 2 to 3 times as fast. You're not only overstimulated, you can't get back inside of your head. You're exhausted. There's nothing wrong with you. You are wired this way. So when next time somebody says, well, you need to learn to handle it better, you just can't deal with this. You're such high maintenance. You're so weak mentally. You enable yourself way too much. You just have all these problems. You don't have problems. It is a scientific fact and proven that introverts have a naturally higher level of baseline arousal. And it is proven that empaths get overstimulated even easier. And it is also proven that some people are hypersensitive to specific stimuli, whether that's loud noises, whether that's the sense of touch. Some people are hypersensitive, and most people are hypersensitive to at least one. My friend, she can do loud noises. Poke, 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 she hates it. That's overstimulating to her, just poking her over and over and over. Me, I can deal with that. Loud noises, I can't deal with. The sense of taste, if you've ever had too much of one food and it just makes you sick to your stomach and you've lost your appetite, it was overstimulated. Alright, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anybody. But that is to simply say this. INFJs, your last cognitive function is extroverted sensing. All 5 of your senses. Every single one. Cognitively, you're inside of your head. You're not focused on what you're feeling. You're not focused on your surroundings. You're not focused on who's talking. You'll zone out, and then they'll be like, you'll come back and hear like the last word of their sentence. They'll be like, okay, and you'll be like, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't hear you. I was zoning out. I was spacing out. Alright, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not wired to be physically here all the time. Okay? Your ARAS gets so overstimulated, you listen to someone talk, they're giving you instructions, you're going through orientation, watching all those boring videos. These are the terms of service, just be sure not to be a creep, so forth and so on. They're telling you, careful of theft, don't use company property for illicit activities, and after about 3 minutes, you zone out. You're overstimulated. You focus so much, or you're not stimulated enough. See, introverts go inside of their head, and they rely on a different chemical. Extroverts rely on dopamine, which is the chemical that involves taking risks, being adventurous, trying new things. Introverts don't like trying new things. They're comfortable with familiarity. As a matter of fact, going inside of their head is what makes them feel stimulated. Coming up with new ideas. Reading a book. Playing a game. Having headphones in. not being focused on their surroundings, just being focused on themselves. They rely on a different chemical, and I forget what it's called. I think it's acetylcholine. Here, I'll Google it. Yeah, I'll Google this for you momentarily. Introverts use a different chemical. I found it, called acetylcholine. I did not want to mispronounce that. And acetylcholine stimulates the ARAS by going inside of your head and coming up with new conclusions and ideas. So yes, introverts are reactive to dopamine, but if you put an introvert in a concert with an extrovert, after about 2 hours, or even as soon as the music starts playing, that introvert's first reaction is going to be to run towards the door and leave. Where the extrovert is likely to reluctantly leave after the final song is played. Introverts can't help this. They are different physiologically, psychologically, and according to studies, by the way that their brain is wired, they're different in the way that they emotionally handle things. Not in every area of life, but in some. Based on prefrontal cortex and different levels of gray matter, so forth and so on. The introvert isn't wired the same way as an extrovert. Now, getting back to INFJs, you're no different. You still rely on these same chemicals. Acetylcholine, did I get that right? Yes, I did. You still rely on acetylcholine. Yes, you have dopamine, but it's not your primary chemical that you prefer to rely on. Just like in the cognitive functions, you don't prefer to rely on extroverted sensing. You prefer to go into your head, introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, which just supplements going back into your head for introverted intuition, and then introverted thinking. You'd rather think things through and come to a conclusion about why things work the way that they work, why they happen, and what causes them to affect people, rather than you would focus on your physical surroundings. Not to say that you don't enjoy having nature walks and watching butterflies and seeing all of creation, but it is to say that if you're going out there to see all of creation, after about 30 seconds, maybe at 2 minutes, you're going right back in your head. You go to watch a river, and then you relax in that environment before going back inside of your head. You're still relying on acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. Pardon me. And in case you're wondering how that's spelled, it's ACETYLCHOLINE. Acetylcholine, if that's how you pronounce it. But whatever the case, INFJs, you get overstimulated like every other introvert. The difference is you're also an empath, and having your fourth cognitive function forcefully engaged in any of the personality types is exhausting. It's just not you. It's just not. So that being said, next time somebody tells you you're so high maintenance, you have so many problems, they don't understand this. They don't understand psychology. I'm going to school for psychology. I want to be a therapist. I'm actually going back in about 3 months to continue my degree. I stopped because I needed to work finances and all that, but now I'm going back. And, people don't understand psychology. They don't understand neurology. They don't understand chemicals in the brain and how it affects people, and how stress affects people. Pain sensories, neuropathways. They don't understand prefrontal cortex and anatomy of the human body either. I'm saying all of that to say this. Anyone who makes such a suggestive comment like that is merely saying it based off of how they feel. Let that be a lesson to you INFJs, not to live off of your FE. Just because you feel like doing something, like helping someone, or like saying something, or stepping out of your comfort zone, does not mean that you should. Take that as a lesson. Don't act or think off of your FE. Use your TI. Go watch my last video. It'll help you. See you later.